Welcome to today's explainer. So, today we're packing a very specific and honestly absolutely crucial kind of bag for your next big journey. Look, if you're planning to migrate or even just daydreaming about it, you already know the logistics, right? The endless paperwork, the crazy visa requirements, just the sheer volume of bureaucratic hoops you've got to jump through. It's completely exhausting. But today, we're focusing on something that is arguably way more vital. We're building a mental toolkit for migration. We're going to dive into a psychological framework built on 5 really powerful concepts. And these are designed to help you mentally and emotionally settle into your dream country, way before you ever actually board a plane. To really grasp how powerful this is, let's try a quick visualization. Now, only if you're in a safe place to do so. Just for a second, go ahead and close your eyes. Imagine waking up in the country you've literally always dreamed of calling home. Picture it as vividly as you can. The streets outside your window, they feel familiar. The air just feels a little bit lighter. You've got a career you genuinely love, really meaningful friendships, and this deep, resonant sense of belonging. It's not some distant dream anymore, it's your actual life. And honestly, it's a pretty nice break from visualizing endless stacks of visa applications and government portals, right? But there's actual real science to this exercise. Every great journey begins within. Long before your physical surroundings ever actually change, your inner world has to shift first to prep your mind for the reality you're trying to build. And that is exactly the foundation this toolkit is meant to lay down. So the core idea here is this. Every day, I move closer to living peacefully in my dream country. The reason this specific phrasing is so incredibly crucial is that it actively trains your mind to hunt for progress, rather than getting completely paralyzed by that massive, super intimidating distance between today and the finish line. Because when you're looking at a goal that might literally be years in the making, your brain can so easily get overwhelmed by just the sheer scale of the whole shebang. This concept, it serves as an anchor. It grounds you in the reality that movement, no matter how slow, is still movement. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how easy it is to get derailed when we only notice how far away the dream seems. We get stuck on this punishing internal loop, right? Constantly asking ourselves, why isn't it happening? Why is this taking so long? But simply shifting that internal question to, how am I growing today, absolutely flips the script. You move entirely away from this state of total frustration and step directly into a productive, growth-oriented mindset. Instead of fixating on that finish line you haven't crossed yet, you start actively looking for your daily wins and those tiny little evolutions in your own capability. And what do those daily wins actually look like in real life? Well, they're surprisingly quiet. It's completing a single, super tedious application form on a random Tuesday. Or it's dedicating just 1 hour to learning a new skill that makes you more employable abroad. Or maybe it's just stumbling through a broken, messy conversation in a new language. The reality of migration isn't always some cinematic movie montage. Life often shifts very quietly before it changes dramatically. And these tangible, grounded little actions, they are the actual scaffolding of your next chapter. They're the unglamorous, but absolutely essential, building blocks of your future. This natural progression leads us right into our second tool. The perfect opportunities find me at exactly the right time. Look, when you're planning a massive life change across the globe, it often feels like this exhausting hero's journey, right? It's filled with endless obstacles, gatekeepers, agonizing waiting periods. So, this tool is all about mastering patience. It shifts the narrative toward trusting the timing of your journey rather than constantly trying to wrestle it into submission. It's basically a psychological defense mechanism against that profound, gut-wrenching anxiety of waiting for that one single email or phone call that could change your life. Because there is a massive, exhausting difference between forcing life and flowing with it. When we operate out of a fear of missing out, or this creeping dread that time is running out, we try to brute force our timeline. We compromise, we panic, we push way too hard. But when we take a step back and actually flow with the process, we uncover something pretty profound. Sometimes a closed door is actually a shield. That really painful rejection from a company or a consulate, it might just be clearing the deck for the right visa, the perfect job offer, or the ideal university acceptance that you wouldn't have even been available for otherwise. It all boils down to a realization that honestly changes everything. Delays are not always denials, timing matters immensely, and the universe, or, the government bureaucracy, often moves at its own incredibly slow pace. The goal here is just to stay prepared. Keep learning, keep your skills sharp, and trust that those unexpected connections are going to arrive exactly when they're supposed to. When all that frantic rushing finally stops, you actually become aware of the opportunities meant specifically for you, simply because you're calm enough to recognize them when they pop up. Okay, so once we master timing, we have to tackle emotional resilience. The third concept addresses a really universal anxiety. I belong wherever my heart is guided. This speaks directly to this deep-seated fear almost every single migrant carries. You know the one, the heavy worry of arriving, unpacking all your bags, and suddenly feeling like a total outsider in your new community. Imposter syndrome isn't just a workplace thing. It hits incredibly hard when you're trying to integrate into a brand new culture, wondering if you're ever truly going to fit in. But here's the secret. Belonging isn't something handed to you by other people like some sort of neighborhood welcome basket. It begins entirely within you. It's an inside job. It is built steadily through your kindness, your genuine character, your willingness to learn the local customs, and just the sheer courage it takes to adapt to unfamiliar surroundings. The world is so much larger than our anxieties, and your future home is already waiting for the exact person you're becoming today. You don't have to change who you are to belong. You really just have to bring your best self to a new table. Cultivating that internal belonging really opens the door to the fourth concept. I welcome abundance, success, and new beginnings with gratitude. Migration is about so much more than just updating your geographical coordinates or getting a fresh stamp in your passport. It's literally the genesis of a completely new identity. And adopting an abundant mindset, it actively trains your brain to spot open doors and creative solutions in places where other people might only see massive roadblocks and structural obstacles. It basically turns you into an opportunity seeker. When you fully embrace this mindset, the landscape completely changes. You actively open yourself up to fresh opportunities, to really meaningful friendships that cross cultural boundaries, to genuine financial growth, and to a totally new level of personal freedom. These are huge, life-transforming shifts that require a lot of mental space to accept. Gratitude isn't just about being thankful for what's packed in your suitcase right now. It is the emotional foundation for welcoming all the amazing things that are currently making their way toward you. Which brings us to the final piece of this mental toolkit, the anchor for everything else we've talked about. My dream country is becoming my reality, one beautiful step at a time. It is a vital, grounding reminder that the future isn't built overnight. It's built through quiet, relentless consistency, immense courage, and an absolute unwavering belief in the path you've chosen. The journey can feel impossibly long sometimes, but after all, dreams always seem completely impossible, right up until the exact day they become memories. And this brilliantly illustrates what it looks like when the tangible weight of that reality finally arrives. Imagine the profound relief of holding the physical residence permit you just pulled out of the mail, the nervous excitement of walking through the doors on your very first day at your new job abroad, hearing the static on the phone right before you tell your loved ones back home, I made it. When doubt inevitably creeps in, and trust me, it absolutely will on the hard days, these are the crystal clear emotional visions you have to hold on to fuel your actions and keep moving forward. Ultimately, this whole process breaks down to a surprisingly simple formula. Daily effort paired with an open mindset equals your new reality. These internal shifts and affirmations are incredibly powerful, but they aren't magic, right? They require consistent, real-world effort. By returning to these concepts every single morning and every evening, you let them shape your thoughts. And over time, those thoughts shape the quiet, daily actions that will eventually carry you across the globe and straight into your new life. Which leaves us with one final question to consider today. Your dream country might feel worlds away right now, buried under a mountain of paperwork and waiting periods. But are you ready to take the first step toward your next chapter? I want you to take a deep breath, pick your favorite insight from today's explainer, keep it in the back of your mind as you navigate all those logistics, and make the quiet, determined decision to just keep moving. Your next chapter is out there, and it's waiting for you to arrive.